I started reading books, like I said, about 2 years ago, um, maybe 2.5 years ago. But the first book I remember reading is a little book called $5 on Amazon. It's called The Master Key System. And every freaking page was exactly what I needed to hear. And I go to bed reading it to get myself in a certain state. And I wake up reading it. You can do this with music. It's basically how do we I spent a couple months working with Brandy Gilmore. She's a pretty well-known healing coach. And she reminded me the importance of positive expectation of positive outcomes. And I think ALS in particular, people just assume there's no positive outcome. So you lose all positive expectation. And now what are you doing? You're trying to make sense of the incomprehensible while you live. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, no, what if I do the exact opposite? What if I dream up my dream life and then look at that life and go, how do I need to change myself to be that guy in that dream life? How does that guy feel when he's doing the dishes? How does that guy feel when he's hanging out with his kids? How does that guy feel when he's in front of an audience speaking? How does that guy feel about his future? How does that guy and I just realized like, oh, I got a lot of work to do, you know, because it's as within, so without. The world without is a reflection of what's within us. It's not the other way around, which is what I thought, which is what most people think. You chase the sexy bullets on the Wikipedia page, and your whole life will make sense when you get them. And then you get them, and you're like, well, then why are some of the most richest, famous, most successful people just miserable?
Mm-hmm.
Is because that's not the way it works, right? The truth is when you fix this inside, and then for the last year, I'm speaking to audiences, and hey, do you want to make an album? And we do the impossible dream with 50 of the biggest stars in the world with Sting and Lin-Manuel Miranda, and we're, you know, raising awareness. And um, I, am cosmically connected with unconditional love and my new partner. And my whole life became way bigger than anything I could have ever imagined.
Mm.
And I know it's a reflection of the within.
Mm.
And the bittersweet thing is you go, when's the body gonna, when's the corn gonna grow?
Mm.
But it's not up to me, you know? So how do I want to spend my time here? And you gotta, like you said, adversity is just the thing. The mind will keep telling you, this is our max point. We cannot deal with any more. And it's just not true. And I watch people that have cancer and just endure extraordinary pain and suffering, and am inspired by them. And people with ALS who endure extraordinary disability. And I go, I don't know if I'd want to do it. And I don't need to know. I don't need to know the answers to that. I don't need to know. I need to stay on the path that feels true within me and do my best. You know, I get to talk to you. We get to inspire people. That's healing for them. It's healing for me. You know, stay the path, man. Just do everything I can to have the courage to keep going.
Yeah. Amen. And we've heard of instances, however rare, of people healing from ALS. Have you heard? I know we talked about we were sharing a guy in Jackson Hole, right? Have you found examples to hold on to?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like 3 months into seeing doctors years ago. And I'm like, has anyone ever beat this? They're like, yeah, yeah, there's 60 people who've reversed. And I'm like, what? You don't lead with that? You don't give people that kind of hope? Like, you just like wait for them to ask? Why? Well, we don't believe that the reversals are real. Okay. Why? Well, because they don't know what I'm like, who studied? So there's a doctor at Duke University, my alma mater, Richard Vedlack, alsreversals.org. There's now 62. So in the last couple of years, two more people. Um, I'm like, what do they have in common? And the doctors are like, we don't know. A positive mindset and a mindfulness practice is so far what they can find. And they're doing their best. And I'm begging them all the time to use machine learning and AI to analyze these reversals and really understand and work with ALS TDI, who has, genetic data on 1,000 or more ALS patients. And let's go. Like I understand hundreds of millions of dollars need to be spent on trying drugs on people. But in the meantime, there's other things. So yeah, and I've spoken to some of these reversals and incredible people, some that were ready to take their lives, euthanasia, unable to move anything. And now they're hiking mountains.
Wow.
So
And can you share
that's,
anything like what was the miracle moment of shift for them? Or was it just
I
from by the
mean,
grace of God?
yeah, well, that's the $1 million question. I mean, that I love that question. And I've asked the few that I've spoken with, and some are not spiritually conscious at all. Some are like, we don't know, just graced by God. One of them was like, it was all about self-love. Um, a gentleman who just despised himself from a young age and learned to love himself. And now he leads groups, it's sort of ALS support groups, and he hikes mountains. He's in his 70s. And he had a Panamanian healer came to his house. The man passed away, I think. So he was like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm going to Panama.
but his friends got around him and a couple times, and the next thing you know, his muscles are moving again. It was like, wow. Um, there's there was one other. There's a guy I know in Australia who I met up in Canada at a clinic, and he got his voice back, and his hands are starting to work better. There's a guy in Orange County who it was only in his arms, and he's gotten his arms back and all the muscle back. And everyone's doing their own things. There's all kinds of treatments and modalities, and this machine and that machine, and I've tried them all. Um, my thing will come, but the that is a great reminder, right? Every day that like 62 people did it. Even if one person did it, like it's like running the 4 minute mile. Somebody did it, and then all of a sudden everybody could do it.
That's it.
So I'm with you. It's like, let's crack this thing. And for me, that's somewhere in the psycho emotional causality, right? It's like Gabor Mate's book. I forget which one, but he talks about ALS, and he does stories on everybody from Stephen Hawking and Lou Gehrig to, I think he features 10 people. One of them reverses. And she starts as a woman who can't move anything but one finger on one of her hands and just starts loving that finger. And now she's fine.
Hmm.
And so it's like, I knew self love had a lot to do with this, right? And I found so much self love through mystical experiences at Joe's events, you know, cosmic stuff that just has happened to me over the last couple of years. And then met, you know, Rob's daughter, Sarah, a couple months ago. And there's this level of unconditional love that I was like, oh, wow, I thought I knew what unconditional love was. Wow, I've got something to learn. And wouldn't it be great if love was the answer?
Thank you for listening to the Heal with Kelly podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. Oh, and if you found this episode inspiring, please rate, review, and share Heal with Kelly so that we can grow our audience and reach more people. We truly appreciate it. Lots of love.